Hi! Today we are so lucky to have Sarah Brannen with us, the author illustrator of the fantastic book Bear Needs Help. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
I'm really happy to be here. It's fun to talk about my work and get a chance to kind of meet the kids.
Definitely. We're so happy you're here too. Could you please tell us how you got the story seed for Bear Needs Help?
That's such a great term. I love that. I love the metaphor of story seed. Well, in this case, 10 years ago, I was working on a story about a bear and a wolf. And the wolf told jokes to the bear, and the bear didn't get them. And I thought it was really funny. And I worked on it a lot, but nobody else liked it.
Oh.
And of the people who didn't like it, they included my agent and my editor. And that kind of meant that there was no hope for the book. So I just set it aside. I felt bad about it, but I worked on other things. And then one day I was just drawing, and I drew a bear wearing red sneakers. And it was just a pencil sketch. And I had no idea. I was my same old bear. I wanted to do a story about a bear. I didn't know why the bear was wearing sneakers. I noticed that one of them was untied. I had drawn it that way. And I just thought, well, why is the bear's shoe untied? Can the bear tie his own shoes? I don't know. And I just started playing around with it. So it sort of came from nowhere. I guess it was the muse.
That is so fun.
Yeah, that's all it is. I don't have any more explanation for where it came from.
Well, that's pretty amazing. I mean, it just goes to show, too, that you never know where your creativity is going to lead. So that even if you're frustrated with one project, it doesn't mean that it won't turn into another fantastic one down the line.
I hope so.
Definitely.
I hope so.
So you're the first author illustrator I've interviewed, and you just talked about this a little bit, but could you talk about what comes first for you, the pictures or the words, or do they come simultaneously?
You know, the answer is kind of all of the above.
Okay.
It depends. When I wrote Madame Martine and Uncle Bobby's Wedding, I wrote the story first and worked very hard on just the words. And I didn't even start sketching until I really had polished the story.
Wow.
But most of the time with the new books that I'm doing, I do them, I do little sketches like I did of the bear.
Oh.
And then I do these little thumbnails. I don't think they're going to be very easy to see because these really weren't meant for public consumption. These are my very first sketches for Bear Needs Help. And there's so few words in the story that there's absolutely no way to write it. And so I have to draw the story. But still, no matter what, it's the story that comes first. In this case, I have to figure out what's going to happen with pictures, not words. But I have to do this kind of sketching over and over and over again, just like writing the draft to a written story to try and figure it out. And it takes a long time. It takes a lot longer to write out a story with drawings like this than to write it out with words. But that's the way I have to do it. So it's mostly these days, it's both together. I just go back and forth.
I love what you said, how the story comes first, no matter if you're doing the pictures or the words.
Yeah, you know, I always tell kids, I ask them what the difference is between art and illustration, and they come up with some good answers. And then I say my definition is illustration is art that tells a story. And so you have to have a story, even if it's in your mind of things that happen and in something you're going to tell the whole story just with pictures. It has to be a story.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that advice with us.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you. Can you talk about the research you did for Bear Needs Help and let us know about the animals that are in the book?
Yes. I decided, early on, I thought, well, I think I'll set this story in Alaska. And even though it's not a realistic story, I kind of wanted to have all the animals in the story be Alaskan animals. And so the first thing to do was look up and see if there are polar bears in Alaska, which I wasn't sure about, and yes, there are. And so that was good. And then I kind of knew some of the animals, but I double checked. I just checked online to make sure that they had Arctic hares and lemmings, and I knew that there were seals because bears eat seals, I'm sorry to say. I had thought about maybe Arctic foxes or coyotes, but I didn't end up putting those in. And then there was this bird who comes in at a very important point in the story. And this book I did not write, but I illustrated it. And there's a bird in it at the end of the book. Should have used a bookmark, so I'll use.
Well, this way we get to see all the beautiful artwork as you flip through.
There they are. This bird here, the willow ptarmigan. And I had illustrated this book 5 years before. And I learned all about this nice bird, and I love the way they look. They have big feathers around their feet like snowshoes. And I just thought it would be really fun to put them in the story in some way, and I came up with, I needed an animal to come help Bear, and I decided that it would be this bird. So that was the start of it, and then I did the sketches at that point without a whole ton of research, because like I said, I didn't really need the animals to be too realistic. But when I wanted to look at the light, unfortunately I could not go to Alaska. I wish I could have. But there's a series of videos called Frozen Planet, which are absolutely wonderful for kids of every single possible age, all the way up to 100. And I just watched those videos and just to get a sense of the light. And there was one scene of the sunrise, which of course in the Arctic takes several weeks. You know, it's dark all winter and light all summer. And then the sunrise is kind of a slow moment in the spring, and it was just this beautiful image, so that's why this scene looks that way. And I also looked for the colors of the snow and the water. Again, I should have used bookmarks, but the water is a kind of really intense aquamarine because it's all around the ice and everything, and so I learned that from watching these videos.
Oh, it's really gorgeous.
That was most of it. I didn't research the animals very deeply because the animals don't wear shoes or talk, so it didn't really matter. I mean, I think someone who knows about Arctic hares could tell that these were Arctic hares, but everybody calls them rabbits, but they're actually hares. But they don't make faces like that or anything. I just did that for fun.
It is definitely a ton of fun, and it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bear needs help with his shoelaces. Can you tell us what you sometimes need help with as an author and as an illustrator?
Well, I need help with both of those things. I often, if I'm trying some new technique, I reach out to my illustrator and artist friends. I might ask them about a kind of pen or a kind of paint. I do it all the time. If I have to, try something new, sometimes I'll just try it and experiment, but also it makes sense to call up one of my good artist friends who's really good at something and say, what kind of thing do you use to do this? Because there's so many different kinds of equipment. And then with writing, I go to groups and we sit and read each other's work, and I get such good advice from those people, like for instance someone in this room right now. And I have a couple friends who aren't in critique groups, but I can email them my stories, and I think we all help each other that way, and I don't think I can do it without it. You need someone else to see your story. You really do. I don't think I've ever written anything that was any good that didn't have a lot of help from other people.
Well, thank you so much for your honesty. Okay, tell us who's coming in July.
Well, my next book is called A Perfect Day, and it's not a sequel to Bear Needs Help. It's about a seagull and a crab. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just a little sneak preview. The book is set in Maine. And this seagull is enjoying the beautiful weather. And she says, it's a perfect day. And then down from the water by her feet, she hears a little voice going, it's not perfect. And she says, what do you mean it's not perfect? And he says, I see a cloud. And that's the way the story goes. So that comes out July 7th, and I'm really looking forward to everybody having a look at this. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. So it was really nice to get a chance to talk to all of you today.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
All right, take care, Sarah.
You too. Bye.
Bye.